The dark history of the American South haunts the present at these historic estates. Come with us as we explore the haunted mansions of the Confederacy. This New Orleans mansion is haunted by its unspeakable history. Built in the French Quarter in 1831, the house was the residence of Marie Delphine LaLaurie, a wealthy socialite. When a fire broke out in the house in 1834, responders found several slaves in the house who were bound, injured, and malnourished, evidence of the terror LaLaurie had inflicted upon them for years. LaLaurie was subsequently driven from the city by an angry mob, but not before at least a dozen slaves perished by her hand in the dark upper rooms of the mansion. Now the mansion is said to be one of the most haunted spots in this haunted city. Tales abound of apparitions, ghostly wails, and feelings of overwhelming despair felt by those who visit the house. Would you dare to step inside this building that is permeated by the anguish of the restless spirits who are forced to linger there? This sinister dwelling is the most haunted house in Mississippi. The McRaven House in Vicksburg has been the site of a series of tragedies since it was built in 1797, a dark history that likely explains its prolific haunting. The house's first owner, Andrew Glass, was a highwayman who perished in the house after a skirmish with authorities. The wife of the second owner, a local sheriff, perished during childbirth in the home. The home's third owner, the slaveholder John Bob, perished in the house after a confrontation with African-American soldiers whom Bob had accosted on the property. The house's fourth owners, the Murray family, lived in the house for almost a century. The Murrays allowed the property to become dilapidated, and several of them perished in the house. Paranormal events in the house are frequent. One former resident says he encountered a spirit he believes to be that of William Murray. The resident says he saw Murray's apparition on a dark staircase, and he was later accosted by unseen hands on multiple occasions, events that resulted in broken eyeglasses and a broken thumb. This former plantation is haunted by a voodoo curse. The Magnolia Lane plantation in Louisiana has a dark history that may explain the paranormal activity that plagues the house and grounds. Legend says that the plantation fell under a curse when slaves who were forced to toil for its owners used voodoo to set spirits against the owners, overseers, and their descendants. In the century and a half since the Civil War, the plantation has been the site of much unexplained activity, including tools that mysteriously move and disappear on their own, strange sounds that echo through the house and other buildings in the dark of night, and even the occasional misty apparition in the main house. Are these manifestations of restless former slaves, or are they the spirits of the plantation's owners who are cursed to eternally roam the world of the living as payment for their past misdeeds? The haunted history of this Louisiana plantation is controversial. The Myrtles, as the old estate is now called, was built in 1796 for David Bradford, a former Revolutionary War general. The plantation passed through several different owners, underwent name changes, and eventually fell into decline after the Civil War. One constant is that the estate has been the subject of persistent legends and an avalanche of reports of paranormal activity. Two stories form the foundation of the house's alleged hauntings. The first is the death of William Winter, an owner of the plantation who perished after being confronted by an unknown assailant on the house's front porch. The second is the story of Chloe, a slave who perished after seeking revenge for her repeated assault at the hands of another of the plantation's owners. The first of the stories is undeniably true, but the truth of Chloe's story is still a matter of controversy. Nonetheless, the plantation, at which enslaved people were held for nearly a century, has enough tragedy in its history to more than explain its intense paranormal activity.